And we're now officially live. Welcome to Bits Radio. Kelly, it's amazing having you in that seat again.
Yes, good to see you.
It's been forever since you've held that chair.
I think so, yeah. I think we haven't chatted. Well, I guess we probably chatted for the fest last year. I guess that's probably the last time I was on here with you.
Yes, far too long. So I'm glad you're back. And we've got some stuff to cover today.
Do we ever? Yeah. And I just let you know just about 20 minutes before we went live, too. So this is all news to you, I think, eh?
It absolutely is. And I'm kind of in shock and I'm kind of like salivating because this is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. So, yeah, to start off, we obviously with COVID-19, there's been a lot of challenges what for festivals are going to do. Some have canceled, some of them have gone online, some of them are doing like drive-ins and different kinds of social distancing versions of it. And the opportunity presented itself for us to go with Super Channel, and that's what we're doing. We're going to move Blood and Snow for this year is going to be presented by Super Channel, October 28th to November 7th. And it will be you just need to subscribe, but it's only $15, so it's the price of one screening. You get a whole festival pass for that. So you can either get it on cable, or if you don't have cable, you can watch it on Amazon Prime, or Apple, I believe, has it as well. So we'll be doing that, and we're moving. The other big news of it is the fact that for the first time ever, we're moving it out of the end of November and moving it to the end of October, early November. Will be November 28th to the November 7th, just because we wanted to take advantage of Halloween and have it over the Halloween holiday. So we still have our tradition of having a bit of it in November, but we're going to have it a bit earlier. Main reason why we didn't have it in October was there's so many other in Toronto. There's so many other screening events going on. It was just we started in November, so it was always felt a little crowded to move it up. We didn't want to get too close to other big events in the city, but on TV it's a whole different kind of ballgame, right? So we thought let's do it. Let's do it over that, and I thought it'd be really fun to have it that way.
So this will be kind of like you said, just tuning into television. You'll sit down 9 o'clock, turn on the TV, and off to the races. You're officially watching Blood in the Snow.
Yeah, well, what we're hoping to do too is really turn it into, as you know, I like late night horror TV shows and stuff. I made a movie about one, so yeah. We're going to do our best. We're still working on the details, but we're going to do our best to turn it into one of those old late night horror TV shows. We're going to have like myself do some kind of intros with a really cool set, hopefully, and we're trying to get that all together. And so the idea is that it's kind of two things at once. We're going to make it feel like an old 80s horror style TV show, but also still feel like you're at Blood in the Snow. So it'll have everything that we normally have. One thing that was really important to me is that I wanted to have everything that you normally would get at Blood in the Snow. So you'll have myself or someone on the team come out on camera and introduce the films. We'll have a short film, then the feature, and then we're going to pre-record our Q&As with the filmmakers this year, so you can just stay on Super Channel and watch a 10-15 minute Q&A afterwards. We'll give them their filmmaker button. They'll still get that. They'll still get their filmmaker laurels. That's always really important to filmmakers. And then even on closing night, we're still going to have the Bloodies, but that will be on Super Channel. And we're going to put together a little virtual video award show ahead of time that will play for the last half hour of the last screening on November 7th. We'll do that. And then it won't be 11 days in a row. It'll be basically 4 days and then 4 days. So it'll go Wednesday to Saturday, like most screenings at 9 p.m. The shorts program, we'll have 4 shorts program again, and approximately 8 or 9 features. We haven't decided how much yet. But generally it'll be a short in the afternoon, a shorts program in the afternoon, then a short and a feature at 9 p.m. Eastern time, repeated on the West Coast at midnight. So they have it also at 9, so you can see it either time. And then it'll be off for a few days, and then we'll do Wednesday through Saturday again, November 4th to the 7th. And then that will be when we have our Deadly Exposure. We'll still do our Deadly Exposure industry events. We haven't really given any details of that yet, but that will happen during the day, November 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. That will be done virtually online. We'll have panels and roundtables and different things during the day, and then still have the screenings at night. And then on top of that, we're also looking at doing some after parties as well. We're still working out the details for that. Most likely on Halloween night and November 7th, so the 2 Saturdays. So one will be our Halloween party, but online. And then we'll do one our closing night for November 7th. We'll have a big party online there too. And we're still working out the details of how that will be. So the great thing is that you'll be able to watch the screenings on TV or on your laptop or whatever how way you want to watch it, and then turn it on online and then join the party with us and hang out with us. And you can talk to we'll invite the filmmakers to come on that. You'll be invited for that on that. All the people that are fans of the festival will be able to join and be a part of that. We'll invite as many people as we can to that. So I'm really excited about it. I think obviously plan A is always to have it in the theater. I don't think that will ever change. And for the record, we've already booked. The Royal Cinema has been really supportive. They understand what everyone's going through. We're all in the same boat, and they kind of consider 2020 a write-off as well. And even though they might be open in the fall, it was just not conducive for a film festival. And I think I spoke to you earlier about this, Robert, that our concern was, and I heard Mitch from Fantasia say the same thing a little while ago, is that we might be technically be available to have screenings by the fall. I think theaters will be open by then, but the festival experience is so different than a regular movie. You can limit it at 50 people or whatever, and social distance, I think, reasonably. Mm-hmm. But I think for the whole point of a festival is having a big crowd all together and watch it together. And the way the Royal is set up with a very small lobby, it was just not conducive to social distancing properly in that environment. I think it's fine. I think when they do regular screenings and they can just limit it to 50 or 75 people or whatever, and you can stagger people coming in and out, I think it'll be okay. But I think for just the dynamics of how a film festival works, it's really based on hype and that crowd and going to the after parties and taking photos together and hugging each other and hanging out and talking to each other, all that. And if people can just watch a movie and go home, that's okay. But the way the culture of having a film festival, I just don't think it's going to translate in a social distance version of it. And that was the real deciding point. I was really serious about pushing forward and, I go, well, we'll just have a smaller festival. We're still going to have it. But then Super Channel came to us and we had a meeting and they had a very successful event we're not the first ones to do it. Canadian Film Fest had it in April. But I honestly, even when I watched that, I watched the screenings, and honestly, even when I watched it on TV, I wasn't even thinking having it ourselves. I thought it was great for them. I didn't have any prior relationship with Super Channel, but I think they were very happy about what happened with them. So they approached us about doing this, and I was like, we talked talked back and forth for a couple of weeks about what we expected and what they expected, and I was just very pleasantly surprised how easy it was going to be to work together on this. And they were really happy with how it went with Canadian Film Fest, and we thought we could do our version of it and still keep our flavor for it. So I felt really confident that we could go ahead and do this. And I should mention too, and this is not so much for the film fans, but I think it's fun to hear this for the filmmakers, is that every feature film that's playing Super Channel will be offered a broadcast deal for Super Channel. And it's quite generous. And it's also very flexible. So not to get bogged down on the specifics of it, but I think what's really great about it is all the films, whether they're shorts or features or web series, they'll still play on Super Channel that one night. And then that's it for the festival. But the ones that have a broadcast deal, they can go play other festivals. They can go do the theatrical. They can do take other VOD offers and things like that. It has no impact on that at all. But they're at a certain predetermined point, 6 to 18 months, say, most of them like within a year, when they're done all the festivals and they've done their own, if they want to do a theatrical and all that stuff is all done, they have that broadcast deal waiting for them. And usually the way it works for people who aren't in the film industry listening, the thing that it usually is you play film festivals, and the ones that don't have broadcast licenses already, they hope to get it. Now they can just rest easy that they have that. They have that already. And what it does too is a thing in Canada. It's called triggering your tax credits, and you need a broadcast license in Canada to do that. So not only are they getting paid by Super Channel, but they can get 30% of their labor costs paid back to them, approximately that, for their tax credits later on. And I'm getting really into micro stuff there. But anyway, long story short, it's really good news for the filmmakers. Like it's a win-win for everybody. They're still getting that festival screening. It's also geo-blocked in Canada, so it's only people. So it won't, if someone has a festival screening in New York or something, like a week later or something like that, it's not going to impact. No one in New York is going to be able to see it. It's just going to be in Canada, and it's only going to be for that one night. So that kind of limits the exposure of it gets, kind of thing like that too. It's like you've got to tune in then, otherwise, that's it. So
that's insane. That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't good for the filmmakers.
Well, no, and
that's the
anybody that knows Blood in the Snow knows that you guys, that's what you look out for, because that's what the film festival is all about.
Well, that's it. I mean, honestly, if this was going to screw over the filmmakers and make a bad experience for them, I would have been happy just to cancel it and go, okay, you know what, we're just going to do 2021. And I was completely prepared to do that. But honestly, this was such a good deal for the filmmakers. I mean, financially, it'd probably be better for us to have it like live. I mean, we're getting a very generous sponsorship, but at the same time, there's no comparison to like, selling thousands of tickets. You know what I mean? Like, so we're really doing this for the filmmakers, and Super Channel's doing it for the filmmakers. I mean, they're not, they obviously they want more people to come into Super Channel, and I have to admit they've been fantastic to work with. Like they're really being very generous, and as far as I know, that the deals that they're going to be offering are very competitive. They're letting us pretty much program how we want to do it, for the different kinds of programming. We're still going to have all 4 of our shorts programs. We're hoping to have the emerging screens, the web series program, the funny frights, and the dark visions program still. That will depend a little bit on what films we finalize on, exactly, but that's the plan at the moment. As we record this, that's where we're at right now, what we're hoping to do. And so they were really flexible about like how many screenings we had and when the dates were and everything about it. I can't tell you how amazing and how easy it's been to work with them. I think I was a little hesitant about when I first met with them, before I met with them, because I was like, I'm so used to be able to kind of do our own thing our own way, and I really didn't want to compromise what we do. And I was so pleasantly surprised when we worked everything out, and like we got everything we wanted. Like it was like really, there was nothing they said no to. So it was really, it was an incredible win for us and for everybody. I think it's going to be great for the fans. I think it's going to be great for the filmmakers. I think it's going to be win all the way down the line. I feel really confident about that. And so this makes me feel really good about making this announcement. Obviously everything's a plan B this year, but but for plan B's go, wow, it's like a B++. Like, I couldn't be, if we can't have it in person, this is absolutely the best case scenario. Like we could not have gotten a better situation for everybody in this. And I'm really happy also too, because I think everyone's been really glum lately about, it's been bad news about just, especially when you see the numbers in the States and everything just being shut down and canceled. And I know the entire film industry has been shut down now. And I was really happy, just not for us, but just for everybody, to be able to kind of give some good news, kind of go, we're going to get through this. It's going to be a little different. And, and I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's something that we normally would never have gotten to do.
Right.
And it's going to be a really interesting footnote to the history of the festival when we look back at hopefully 20 plus years of it or whatever it's going to be. Like it'd be really great to look. It's going to be great to look back at year 9 and see this kind of crazy little adventure we did this year for it.
Yes. Anthony here just mentioned this is great news about the connection with Super Channel. Congratulations.
Great.
And even David said, good news is good. Now, this brings out the Jeff Goldblum in me because, with everything being shut down, like you said, life finds a way. It's a classic line from Jurassic Park. So now I'm thinking about Blood in the Snow 2021 and how much of what you do this year will actually follow through and be part of next year as well as a live festival.
What way do you think? You mean just in general or just?
I just mean the combination, because some of this stuff is amazing. The connection with Super Channel, the virtual Q&As, because like you said earlier when we were chatting, you can now have people from all over the globe talk, that may not be able to make it there.
Well, yeah, certainly over across Canada. Yeah, I mean, I think what the one thing that it does do is that it definitely, obviously we're a national festival. We're all Canadian filmmakers, and we worked really hard to try. We worked really hard, but it's always been in increments to try and bring the festival nationally. I mean, I went up to Yellowknife to Dead North recently, back in February, and just to tell people about the festival up there. And I was on a mentorship program up there. And of course, there was a lot of people up there that never heard of anything that we've done down here. And so it was really great to tell people way up north what we're about. And we've also been trying to reach out to all parts of Canada to tell people that what we do and how we exist, and to be part of the film, their film planning, And I think this is going to really give a really great opportunity for us to, on a national level. There's over 400,000 subscribers to Super Channel. If you look at all the different formats that are available, it's almost 400,000 people across Canada. So if you think about that, if 10% of the people who are subscribers tune in to any screening, that's going to be like 10 times how many screening people we would have in person, right? We have about 3,000 people that attend the festival. If 10% at any point turn into any screening, that's 40,000 people, right? So, so it's really kind of opens it up, and it creates an even playing field too. Is that I think it's going to give people from Newfoundland and Saskatchewan and all over the country that could not have afforded to come to the festival are going to be able to check it out. Yeah, we just had a post there about someone from Deep River, Jay from Deep River.
He's always wanted to go, but now he can check it out.
Right.
This is where it might follow through for 2021, where depending on how Deadly Exposure goes, if you're having your roundtable, you can now have a virtual roundtable, and people from Edmonton can join in, people from Prince Edward Island could join in. It's going to be interesting to see how it evolves. Yeah,
because you're right. Because in the past, people could only come here in person. The irony is that we did, if you remember, we did a tour across Southern Ontario a year and a half ago, and we played we brought the festival to 4 cities across Southern Ontario. The irony is that was the intention, was to kind of broaden it across Ontario and to go to 4 cities. And I think in in 8 nights of Super Channel, we're going to do exactly what we did with, frankly, far less work.
Yes.
I mean, actually, one of the funniest things about this festival this year, do you realize this is the first year I'm actually going to be able to watch it?
I know, right? You're not going to be running all over the place.
I mean, you realize in 9 years, and it's kind of like, I saw this interview with Paul Stanley of KISS, and he says the only thing I don't like about being in KISS is that I've never seen the band live. Because they're always on stage, and it's just like you watch video and stuff. But us 4 people are the only people that will never see the band live. We have to go like that too. It's like I got thinking about that in relation to the festival, because I could sit in the theater and watch them, but I can't because I'm so busy. I'm always running around. Sometimes I'll sit down and watch maybe 15 minutes of a title, but I don't recall. Maybe in year 1 I did it, but I don't think there's any screenings where I actually sat from beginning to end. I think in year 1 I did for the midnight screening. I think that's the only one I can think of where I actually sat, for it. But I don't. But for the whole festival, God no, not even close. So. I mean, I'm just running around with my head, cut off, and so this is going to be kind of. And now I'm sure I'm going to be busy with this, tweeting and all that kind of stuff, and we have an after party that night. It won't be like completely sitting on my ass kind of that, but it will be nice to actually just sit down and actually kind of watch the fest this year, like that.
So interesting.
It's going to be interesting to see it like that. It's a whole different. It's a whole different. The whole different dynamic, but I don't know. It's interesting. I don't even know. Although I might be going crazy, I might be completely going stir crazy. Like I want to be out with the people and stuff like that. But I think that's also why I want to do the online parties and stuff like that, because I think I'll be really anxious to go chat with everybody, like in a live setting. I think that's going to be really I think for my own sanity, I think I'm going to be wanting to do that. I think I'm really curious how the programmers are going to feel. I just told them, like, they didn't even know till this has all happened very fast. I don't think they knew until maybe 10 days ago. We had a programming meeting recently, and I told them at the programming meeting, and I wanted to see the look on their faces when they're like that too. So other than the board of directors, nobody knew until about 10 days ago. And then and so then Oh, you know what? Let's show the bumper.
You want to do that? Real quick, Carlos said here, awesome, Kelly. Keep on growing, brother. Next, world domination.
Awesome.
That's it.
Okay. And so we have a new bumper for Blood and Snow that Lance Alexander did again for us. It's a little bit of a modification from last year's. I think you can't hear it, but you certainly will be able to see it if you're tuned in live.
Oh, they should be able to hear this.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Okay.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
Pretty cool, eh?
I love the green eyes at the beginning.
Yeah. And Lance just finished that like literally 3 hours ago. You're the first people to see this. So
really, Marco's bumper. Can't wait. Last year's was epic. They do. They always look so good.
Oh, I have to give Lance credit for it. He's done. I think he's done every bumper since 2015. When he did the animated moose that year.
Okay,
he animated the moose for that year, and he's done and then we did the Northern Lights, then we did Bob and Doug, and then last year we did the like kind of the melted wall. And actually we were going to, as you notice, the artwork's a little different than we had already planned. We were going to do, Andrew Barr did a really great poster that was going to be this comic book. But they're coming out of the Royal. So what we did was we decided to move that that's going to be the 2021 poster now.
Okay.
Because they're coming out of the Royal. It didn't, it didn't feel right to have them coming out of the Royal when we're at the Royal. So what we decided to do was kind of repurpose a lot of the melted wall stuff that we did last year. And because also it's going to be a lot of people across Canada seeing bits for the first time. So we want something kind of classic looking like that. So that's going to be the artwork. It's very much based on what the artwork we did last year, but just kind of like you saw there, modified for this year. And but I kind of wanted that. So we're still going to use Andrew's great poster. We're going to have some. I'm sure we'll have some big, like, long sheets of it next year and stuff. But yeah, I felt like it wouldn't do it justice to have it. It wouldn't even. I think people learning about the festival and seeing this kind of comic book thing wouldn't really get what we're about. So it was kind of like that. So I thought, and it's coming out of the Royal. So, and I also think it will work next year because then it'll be like this pandemic recovery thing, this pink ooze that's coming out of the theater for the poster for it. But it was really funny about that. As a little side note, I'm not a superstitious person, but I do remember there was one year that Try After Dark did a T-shirt and they had. Gary did this, so like that he did the artwork of the old Blur cinema, and it had like all these tentacles coming out and stuff like that, and that was their new artwork for that year. And by chance, Adam moved the festival to Cineplex that year, so the T-shirt at Cineplex was, and he sold the same shirt for quite a few years of the Blur. It's still a great shirt and it's still a great poster. But it was like, it's because it's like this. And I remember when I got Andrew to do the artwork for this year with it coming out of the Blur, and I figured it was safe because I'm like, okay, we've been in the Blur for 3 years now. It's going to be safe to have the artwork of the Royal. That's what the same thing happened to us.
Yep.
It's like as soon as you do the artwork for the venue that you're going to have it at, that's when something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So I know I'm being
ahead of the game.
I know I'm being completely superstitious here, but like, yeah, Sean Kelly just posted story, but Fantasia still has the best at-home artwork. I agree. That's like that too. Now what? But how can you? I have a pug. You can't top a big giant cat and a pug for any year. So their artwork is theirs, and I do like the ongoing theme of the pug and the cat, whereas we kind of generally reinvent the wheel every year for our artwork. So,
yeah. The Bloor Toronto After Dark shirt was for the final year of the festival. Was at the Bloor.
Was it really? Okay. Maybe I had it wrong then. Okay, so maybe they got 1 year out of it. So Sean would have a better idea of that than I would. But I thought it was the year after, but maybe not.
So you've officially leaned something today. So now you don't have to learn anything for the rest of the day.
I wouldn't question Sean Kelly's expertise on this stuff. So anyway, it's just like I'm probably being superstitious, but and the thing is that we're going to be back at the Bloor. I mean, I said we've already booked our dates for next year. We will be back at the end of November again. That's not going to change. We're not moving into October. We'll be at the end of November. That's already done, like that too. So we've paid our deposit, like we're committed. So we'll be back 100% for there. So yeah, so it's good.
I'm so excited for this year, and it's weird. I'm excited for the year always. I'm actually super excited, like I said, for next year too, just to see the mixing, because I'm loving what you guys are doing this year. I absolutely
yeah, it'll be interesting, and who knows, we might even be able. I don't want to promise anything, but maybe I'm hoping we'll keep up our partnership with Super Channel even when we, even when we move it back to the theater. I mean, we'll try and figure out some way that we can work together still. I hope, because one thing that really appealed to me about having it on Super Channel is that if you do go on there, you can go look on anything on demand. You can watch the regular channel, Fuse. So just to be clear, there's 4 channels actually to Super Channel. There's Fuse, there's the Vault, there's like a home thing, which I think is like their Christmas movies, the Hallmark kind of style, and then there's the video game one. Fuse is obviously the new stuff, and Vault is the older stuff. And then there's also the on-demand option too, right? Most channels have an on-demand thing, so you can go on there. If you've got cable, you can hit on-demand. And I counted just the other day, there's 9 Bits alumni titles that are on there currently. I'm sure there's been way more in the past, but the ones that are currently on there. So you can go see Buckout Road, you can see Isabel, you can see The Horde, you can see Dead Sight, you can see She Never Died. There's a whole list of that. So they've always been very, very supportive they've been picking up Canadian titles that played Blood in the Snow for years. So it's great. So I think there's going to be a lot of, so not only will people be able to go check out this year's lineup, but they'll be programming, I'm sure they'll be programming alumni titles all through the month of October. And even now, I mean, I see them on all the time. Sometimes I see 2 or 3 in a row. Like, no kidding. Like, seriously. They play it all the time. So, I think it's very conducive to that. I think there's a lot of stuff that people will in the lead up to it. I think if people haven't heard of Blood in the Snow before, there's quite a few titles that they'll be able to go see either before or after the festival. So if they like what they see at Blood in the Snow, they'll be able to go check out those ones. Plus the ones that that do get picked up for broadcast with them as well. They'll play later on. Some of them will be right away, and some of them will be a year or 2 later. So there's lots going on there. I think it's going to be a really good mix. And then of course we've got Deadly Exposure as well. We'll be announcing that. Honestly, I was just been trying to get everything ready for this announcement today. This is kind of like obviously a big moment for us. On a personal level, I think today, honestly, on a personal way, if I could just get personal for a minute, I've been doing this for about 10 years now. I started off as a film writer, and you have certain ambitions, that things that you want to do and stuff. And I have to say, the day that we signed the deal, I turned to my partner Sarah and I said, "Wow, I think that might be the biggest success I've ever had." Just that signing that deal was kind of big. It was like we're kind of in the big time now. I mean, we're only one of 2 festivals that have done this, and I felt like a certain sense of accomplishment of for people who are listening, Blood in the Snow started so small. I mean, we didn't start off with any budget at all. We started out in a very small grindhouse cinema. We literally had no budget that year. I think the entire fest was done for maybe $800. The first 4 years of the festival, the budget was $5,000. It was nothing compared to like that. So it was like we had no marketing money. We really kind of was just word of mouth. I mean, we're still a word of mouth festival, really. And so it was really nice to kind of have such a big broadcaster come to us and go like, bigger than producing a feature film, Sean Kelly asked. Yeah, it's like
just looking at that. I think it is, honestly.
It is, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess so. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, if there's any other, okay, maybe there's two things. Like I'm not saying I haven't any successes, but I'm just saying that certainly I think that would be the 1-2 punch. It would be like, if I left this world tomorrow, I think it would be what we're doing this year, and then what I did with Late Night Double Feature. But here's the thing: this is what's so funny about this. I'm getting really the best of both worlds, because if you watch Late Night Double Feature, like it takes place on a late night horror show, and I'm even working with the same production designer, Bethany McLeod, who did the production design for that film. Where she's making the backdrop for when we're going to record the intros. So.
Is it going to be the lab?
No, we're going to do a Blood in the Snow version of it. but it's kind of like this kind of like art imitating life thing. Like it's like I'm certainly not going to dress up as Dr. Nasty in a lab coat, but I look probably like what you see here. But you know what I mean? It's going to be like I will say for a second I did consider that idea of doing that, but I was like, okay, we're getting off brand here. So, but it is that kind of thing of like, I think the real reason why I made that movie is because I always wanted a show like that. And so this is where it's kind of like careful what you wish for 6 years later.
Yeah.
Our little late night horror show. I just love the idea that we're going to take over. Like we're literally going to be on national television across Canada on Halloween night. Think about that.
And see, this is what I think is
going to take over Halloween across Canada on Halloween night. I mean, that's pretty amazing if you think about it.
Right? And this is what I mean. You're going to kind of blow the doors open on Blood in the Snow. Like Canada is going to get to see Blood in the Snow.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get to experience it. They're going to get to see it, but not experience it. And this guy, Mark, he put on here, you're one of the hardest working and most considerate people in the industry, a real rock star. Thanks for promoting our films. And that's exactly it. Because when you go to Bits, it's different than watching it. You go to Bits.
It is.
You're one of the family, you know?
Well, that's why I said it's like I probably would rate this as a B+ scenario kind of thing like that. Like you can't really qualify to be like, you know, I mean, it's never going to be the same as doing it in person. Yeah. Although I will say this though, I think everyone tuning in is just going to make us more hungry for it. Not just our festival, but everyone's online and everything that we're doing like that. I think people are going to be really, really hungry for this next year. I think it's kind of like I don't want to go so far to say that we're complacent, but I think we were starting. We maybe were like as a society, like far as our film community in Toronto. Mm-hmm. In Toronto, we're so spoiled in a way because we have, like, if you're in Toronto, you live in Toronto, you could. If this was like a year ago, I could walk out tonight and go to at least 5 really cool indie or retro screenings in the city, not even counting new stuff, but like some really cool like event nights, kind of event screenings, where there's 4 or 5 really good theaters where you could go there, and there's no shortage. There's really no shortage of options that you could go to, and I think it was a sense of like you just kind of go. Even myself is just like, oh, I can go tomorrow night. Oh, if I don't go to this month, that event will be there next month, and then there's this sense of that once that's been taken away from all of us, is like, oh, wait a minute, this was really important to me. This is something that was very sacred. And this is why it's so important that I think when the doors do open up, is that we're all going to be, I mean, I'm walking the walk. I went and bought myself a Royal membership. I bought one for the review. I got a Rue Morgue subscription. I got a Horror Hound subscription. Like I went through all the things of like different publications and different events and different groups like that to donate as much as I could to do that because I want to make sure that those doors. And I told the Royal, the minute you open your doors, we'll be tweeting about it and plugging it as much as we can, because we need to keep these. This is more important than ever. I don't want anyone to think that we're doing this as a substitute for the real Blood in the Snow, and we're not going back to that. I'm sure it'll be different. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what the landscape's going to be like. I don't know what bars are going to be still open. I don't know, like, if partnerships that we've had with other sponsors and other people, if they're going to be around next year. I hope they are, but it's never going to go back to the way it was before. It's going to be a different landscape. I'm hoping, and this is just the positivity in me, I really hope that we all kind of learn from this and appreciate it even more, and really help stay behind indie culture and not take it for granted, because we could lose it. We really could.
Oh,
and
no,
so
absolutely.
I really don't want people to think, oh, that's it for Blood in the Snow. That's it for film festivals. We're done. And this is why I keep emphasizing that we'll be doing again next year. And what I'm hoping to is have a bit of a hybrid where we do have partnerships with Super Channel continue. We had a great one with Hollywood Suite last year, and they were great too. And we want to keep those partnerships going because it's you gotta have both. You can't do one or the other. If films just play film festivals and they don't have a broadcaster to play on afterwards or some kind of VOD of it, they're not going to make anything. So it's not like we're saying one or the other. It's something that I'm hoping that we can kind of build an ecosystem that kind of complements each other.
That's why I'm excited for 2021. I got to admit. But yeah, I think this is great. And even Laura says, this is awesome. Major congrats.
Oh, Laura's great. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, so there, everybody, get ready, because there's still Blood in the Snow this year, just in a different form.
A little different. Yeah, from the comfort of your home, buy that too. And
exactly.
And we'll try and do everything we can to make it as much as, as exciting as we can for it. We're going to try and think of every single element that we've done for the festival and try and figure out some way virtually that we can still do it, even if it costs a little bit of money out of the festival's pocket. Make sure that happens. I really want to make sure that we continue that. So, I think it's going to be good. Good.
Excellent. Now, and you wanted to mention one last thing before we left the air.
Yeah, speaking of giving back, it's already gone so well, but I still wanted to put a little bit of a plug on it and give some context. We have a wonderful volunteer. Speaking of taking for granted our film community, we have a great guy named Harvey that has been a great volunteer for our festival. But really, that's just a drop in the bucket. I mean, I've asked Harvey how many festivals he's volunteered for. I don't think he even knows himself at this point how many events. It's staggering. He is almost a celebrity in the city. Everyone he's even gone all the way to Fantasia and Sundance, volunteering there, and he literally volunteers 7 days a week at every single film event, every single festival in the city. I don't think there is a film festival that Harvey doesn't volunteer at. And so, in a way, this has been probably hard. The festival's canceling has probably been harder on Harvey than anyone, because this has been his world, right?
It's what he does.
Like that too. I think he said he's been able to manage to volunteer to 3 festivals this year, he said, but that's nothing compared to what he's used to. And he messaged me, it was only a week ago. He messaged me and said that he was being evicted from his room that he was renting from. And he's on a fixed income, and he was like, and the rent's been, there's a real housing crisis in Toronto here. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I'm very frustrated at the housing crisis in the city, that so many people have been evicted. Because if you rent a room, you have no rental rights. If they want you, if you're in a rooming house or renting a room, if they want you gone, you're gone. And so he was told last week that he had to be out by August 31st, and he's on a fixed income, and there's very few places to rent. And he was going to be and it was going to be very difficult for him to find anything in Toronto. And it was so important for Harvey to stay in Toronto because he's volunteering for all this stuff. And sometimes he's working till 1 a.m, 2 a.m. at these things. He can't, he's got to be able to get home and get back the next day for these different things. Otherwise, he's going to be out way in the boonies. And so I said, well, let's see what we can do. So I started a GoFundMe like not more than 5 days ago. And as we record this, in 5 days, we've raised over $24,000 for him.
That's insane. That's amazing.
So I just want to thank everyone who's contributed. Some people have been everyone's been so generous. We've had over 1,000 reposts for it. It's been mentioned on Blog TO and Breakfast Television and stuff. And we actually turned down a lot of media offers, so we kind of wanted to keep it within the film community. But everyone is Harvey's so grateful. I can say that actually Harvey did find a place just yesterday.
Excellent.
So I wanted to tell everyone that. But the money really is for long term though. Is that it wasn't just to get an apartment. It was that it will help subsidize the additional rental costs because he's on a fixed income. And this is the problem. The problem is that Harvey's lucky because he's got a whole film community that's willing to help him out like this when the time is needed. The thing is, though, there's 10,000 other people in Harvey's situation in Toronto. So I want people to remember and realize that there's a lot of people that are like in Harvey's situation, and they're living in a tent city right now because of what's going on. So not to downplay what we've done to help them, just remember, like, please tell your politicians to have rental rights and donate to different organizations in the city, food banks and shelters and everything. But there has to be real political change of this. But what's going to happen with the money for Harvey is that he's going to get every dime, and he'll be able to top up his rent every month and actually have some money to live on. That just basic, stuff like that too. And we're hoping it's going to last them 4 or 5 years. So every time, even though we've already reached our targets and more, we're going to keep it up till August 1st. And if people still want to donate, it's not going to go to waste. I mean, like that too. Like, it might seem like a lot of money, but over numbers of years, you can imagine that only goes so far. So, everyone's really great. We're really grateful about how much you've raised, but if people haven't donated yet, don't hesitate. Just a few bucks like that can go a long way, and Harvey's really appreciative. And like I said, and you can find that on our Facebook and our social media, the link to that for it. Just if you look on GoFundMe, it's Let's Help Harvey. If you just Google that, you'll find it there.
And that's the thing too with Harvey. Like I said, you may not know his name, but I guarantee you've seen him.
You know his face, yeah. I mean, I know people have known him for 25 years. So, but yeah, we'll figure. Definitely, it'll definitely be used well. It'll definitely be going. And that's the thing too. You're not just getting into a faceless charity where you don't know what it's really going to. You're seeing the face. You'll literally see the face every time you go to a different film event in the city and see Harvey's smiling face. And one thing I emphasize on the GoFundMe, that we don't look at it as charity. This is giving back, because Harvey has literally donated thousands of hours to all our film events and made them run so well. I mean, Harvey's expertise at festivals is like nobody. Like, if you spend the time to talk to Harvey, he knows more about film festivals than anyone ever born. And he can walk into an event like ours and know how to do crowd control without. We don't have to tell him anything. Like, we walk in here, he's like, "What do you need done?" And go, "Oh, can you do this and that?" And in 30 seconds, he has the pass holder line and the ticket line, and he has like that too. And he knows how to direct traffic, and that's his main thing that he does at this. And he knows how to do it better than anybody. So it's we try and give him like a lot of festivals like ours give a little honorarium, but it's not anywhere close to like what he should get for a living doing it. But that's a whole other thing. And but I think I think it was all up to us to give back. I think as a society and as a film society, I think we maybe we all kind of, you take things for granted. You're just used to seeing that. You're just used to having Rocky Horror play once a month at the Bloor. You're just used to having 3 or 4 festivals in the city play every weekend, and you're just used to seeing Harvey there every weekend. And then the minute that's taken away from you, it's a whole different thing. It's like, whoa, we've lost something here. So I have to admit, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really surprised at one hand, but I'm not surprised. I kind of, when I came home to set up the GoFundMe, I kind of I kind of knew that I didn't think it would do this well, but I knew it would do well. I had a feeling that we at least raised a few $1,000s to help them, but this has been gone above and beyond.
I think it's excellent because, yeah, you're right. He's in there like a dirty shirt. If there's something that needs to be done, You know, he's
Yeah.
handing out programs. He's pushing people over to the line. He's picking up trash after people have left because everybody leaves their garbage out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What was the name of that the GoFundMe again?
Let's help Harvey.
Let's help Harvey. Easy to
If you look
find.
up, if you look up GoFundMe and you look up Let's help Harvey, it's a public thing. We'll have that open until August 1st, I believe. So we're at just over 24,000. Our new goal is 26,000. So hopefully we can get that this week and help Harvey.
Excellent. All right, Kelly. Any last word?
No, that's great. I hope everyone is excited as we are about this, and I'm sure we'll be on talking about it. There's a lot more about the deadly exposure industry side. We'll talk. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have another episode a month from now when we have that lineup locked, and we'll that will be all online, and will be the second week of the festival, November 4th to the 7th. So when we have more details on that and other aspects of the festival, we'll have another episode and we'll chat more then.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
For Bits Radio, that's it. We're out of here.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
You bet. See you guys.
Bye.